Birds are incredible species. Not only did they descend from dinosaurs, but most of them can fly. The ones we currently have in Planet Zoo don't really fly, and while some kinda do, we all know exactly what the Planet Zoo community wants. And that want is flying birds. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you guys are having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf, and welcome as we talk about my top birds that I want for Planet Zoo. Now, of course, these birds would be implemented either as habitat animals or through the new walkthrough aviary mechanic. This walkthrough exhibit is only used for the sloth, the butterflies, and the flying fox and the bat. Wow, we actually have a lot of animals that use it now. However, when we got the Egyptian fruit bat for the first time over a year ago, we all kind of expected this mechanic to be used for birds. However, over a year has passed and we still have not gotten any bird, well, any flying bird, to use this walkthrough exhibit. So without further ado, let's jump right into it and talk about hypothetical birds that I think would best fit this walkthrough exhibit box. Let's jump right into it. Number one on my list would be a macaw species. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going into specific, definite species with this wish list. I'm really going to talk about, well, some specific ones, but really ones that would make for the most diverse experience. And macaws are synonymous with zoos and aquariums worldwide. Everyone knows exactly what a macaw is, and you can't deny that that iconic look of these guys is anything short but iconic. I'm doing some really great wordsmithing today. Anyways, macaws, they are very cool. I feel like we could get at least 6 of these in a habitat at once due to their somewhat larger size. I'll even stack it up to 8 like the sloths, but they're really, really beautiful birds. And whether we get a scarlet macaw, whether we get a hyacinth macaw, which I think would make for a really, really great kind of status on diversity, on conservation and stuff like that, I think that would be a wonderful choice. Alternatively, the Spix's macaw, which was actually just released back to the wild, would be a really, really great, even greater conservation story for Planet Zoo to cover. Either way, I'm not really too picky about my macaws. I think that they are beautiful species, and I think that if we just get one, the modders could kind of do the rest, you know? Alright, number 2 and 3 on my list go hand in hand. This would be the budgie or budgie-agar, as well as the rainbow lorikeet. Now, you guys probably know I've talked your ear off about these two species for a while now. Ever since Oceania came out, I've been very salty that we did not get these very iconic Oceanian animals in that DLC. Instead, we got the masked flying fox, which I think is kind of fine. It's alright. I think it's, I love bats. Don't get me wrong. But I also love birds, too. And it breaks my heart that we still don't have them. But anyways, these guys are very iconic. You go to any zoo in the world, there's a relatively good chance that they'll have a walkthrough aviary where you could get little seeds, and then you could feed the birds that fly around. These would be the birds that you would encounter. The rainbow lorikeet, of course, is rainbow colored, which gives it its very iconic name, but they are just so beautiful. Lories are such a diverse group of birds that I think would make for a wonderful pick for this, as well as budgies, which are just fantastic little creatures. I know a lot of you guys at home probably have a budgie as a pet. They are so iconic, they are so personable, and I went to go see them at Bronx too, and it was so cool to be able to feed these guys. I don't know. Anyways, these guys are very iconic for zoos and for Australia as a whole, so I think that these would be a perfect little dynamic duo in here. But I'm gonna throw a very weird duo out there too. I'm gonna say the golden-breasted starling, as well as really any Tarraco species. The starling is a beautiful animal. I feel like I haven't been to a zoo without these iconic looking birds. They're an African species after all, and they are just so strikingly beautiful. I feel like that iridescence on their feathers could look insanely good in Planet Zoo. And one of the things when it comes to aviaries for me personally is that you need a lot of species in here, and I think pairing it like the starling, or alternatively we could go with like amethyst starling, white-headed buffalo weaver, anything kind of like that, and pairing them with a somewhat larger bird like a taraco would be a really, really awesome mix. A lot of the aviaries that you do end up going to have a lot of birds in them. Oftentimes you could get up to like 20 to 25 different species in a single tropical house, which is so cool. So I think that we would really need to pair these birds together, and whether that means kind of fixing up like a smaller bird with a bigger bird, I think that makes sense. Taracos are insanely awesome animals, and I just want to spread the good word with you guys about them. They're beautiful, they are big, they have lots of colors. There's the violet taraco, there's the great blue taraco. There are so many of these wonderful species that I think if we get one in Planet Zoo, that would just be enough for me. Really cool birds. Beyond that, I think that we should also look towards more walkthrough aviary birds. I know so many people are probably like, where are your eagles? Where are your vultures? I personally don't think that these guys fit the walkthrough exhibit box. I mean, these are species that you can walk by, and while some macaws or some birds can technically harm you, I really want to stray away from vultures or larger birds of prey just because they're scary, guys. They're kind of scary. So let's go with two more species from South America, the Andean cock of the rock, as well as the toucan. Both of these species are so iconic looking. The cock of the rock has a really, really, really cool like feather orientation where it looks like they just have like, you know, like a orange wafer on top of their head. I don't know, but they're just the coolest looking guys ever. The toucan, while it doesn't really matter to me whether we get keel billed, toko toucan, anything, even if we get a toucanlet, I don't care, just as long as we get one. I feel like that would be fantastic enough to have. Just really, really iconic animals, and I feel like they could share a space very well. They're both relatively harmless birds. I'm sure that they could probably rock your stuff if you kind of piss them off enough, but still, I think that these guys would really help to complete a lot more South American sections, especially because they're just these bright, colorful birds. And I think that those bright, colorful animals really help to make South America what it is and what it's iconically known for. Meanwhile, let's get back to Asia. I just have one more species in here. The Asian fairy bluebird is a so freaking beautiful animal. Look at these guys. Really, really stark jet black coloration plumage on one side with really bright iridescent blue on the other. All coming together with those striking red eyes. These birds are so freaking fantastic. Not to mention that they are a wonderful, wonderful conservation story in themselves. I know San Diego Zoo has like 5 different exhibits for this species, and it really, really does show. They are just so freaking beautiful, so freaking spectacular. They have a good enough size to them where I feel like they wouldn't hide in an exhibit. That's the reason why I really didn't strife too close to hummingbirds with this. Personally, I love the butterflies because you can put so many of them in a habitat at once. However, when you're working with birds, you can't really fill them up as much as you can like insects. So that's why I'm kind of straying away from there. Maybe you guys want them. I kind of want them too, but regardless, the Asian fairy bluebird is a beautiful animal, and that's why I'm sticking with this one for the last one. I really do find these guys so interesting, and they're so beautiful too, which again really helps to settle down or settle up our Asian habitats and Asian sections in our zoos. I think that'd be a really awesome species. Alternatively, I'm just going to throw a whole bunch of different birds at you guys for anything I would also be happy with. Ibis or spoonbill, these guys would still probably be better off as habitat animals, but I think that their inclusion in here would be a really, really awesome one at that. I'm thinking kookaburras. Kookaburras are very iconic, and I think that that sound design team, oh my gosh, they would go crazy with them. Check out how they sound, guys. So cool. I'm trying to think of other ones too, but that's really it for now. I would love to include some more North American birds, but really they would just be perceived as boring. Like no one wants cardinals or like mourning doves or anything like that in Planet Zoo, except for me, I guess. But hey, what can you do? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know your top birds for Planet Zoo that you want, because I know that other people are absolutely gunning for these guys. Hopefully in 2024, but we'll absolutely see where that goes. Thank you so much one last time for stopping by. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Goodbye now.